ladies and gentlemen. Welcome to the CPTC live stream here at beautiful historic Birchwood Club. I am Matt McClure, sitting alongside Sean Albrecht for week number. It's either week number 6 or it's week number 47. You think it's 8? Okay.
Week WEAK for me over here.
I count the weeks based on what we've live streamed, and I lose track when we do 47 days of tournaments in a row. So that's, you know,
and
that's,
they went
you know what?
40 days and 40 minutes.
We have some awesome paddle coming to you tonight. This is a Series 3 match between Birchwood and Tennaqua.
The Tennaqua Rockets.
Closest over here on this court is the Granger boys, which is always very exciting when you get to have a father-son team play together.
The style.
That's pretty excellent. So Mitch and Ed Granger in the ad court over here, and Mitch Granger on the deuce court on the far side.
Yeah, a lot of internal humor over there.
Let's see if they can get off the court without getting into an epic fight.
Well, you suck.
Is that how it goes when you played with your dad? Because okay, yeah, same for me. So that's good. It's good to know that that's a universal element. And then over on the far side, we have Adam Morgan in the deuce court, and he is playing with Gabe Korak. I think.
Dvorak. Is it Dvorak? Dvorak or Korak?
Korak, I believe. Yes, in the ad court.
Don't listen to me.
And I have played with and against almost all of these guys, and by almost I mean for sure 100%.
Yeah,
all of them.
you have.
And this is exciting. So I will be hypercritical of the ones who have beat me, which is all of these guys, and I will be very gentle with the guys that I have beaten, which is none of these guys. So
I wasn't good enough to get to the round to play them.
That's totally fine. We've got some fun stuff going on here. We did have a full snowstorm for 5 minutes, a whiteout snowstorm. It only lasted 5 minutes. It was enough to absolutely soak the courts.
Right.
And you can hear a blower going on some of the other courts in the background because they're trying to clear some standing water off, and the heaters have been running.
Yep.
They did what they were supposed to and melted all the water, but they left some moisture.
And they look good. I kind of like the fog. It's almost like a horror movie or I don't know, either that or a heavy metal concert when they do. You know what I mean? Like you get that something going.
That's just, I accidentally spilled dry ice all over the place, Sean. That's my fault. There's just a solid layer of mist.
Yeah, it's like a Steven Seagal Bayou movie.
Yeah, absolutely.
So,
And Adam Morgan is, of course, the the co-director here at Birchwood with his wife, Allison Morgan. So what he's doing right now is something he has done hundreds of thousands of times. He's got a pattern going. He knows exactly what the trouble spots are. He's gonna get us going as quickly as possible.
Absolutely. Does a great job, both he and Allison. As a matter of fact, if you want to talk about a great couple of, kind of racket sports directors, I mean, I don't know if you can get any better than those two. I can't think of anybody who's any stronger all the way around, not just as players, but as directors. They do a great job. Yeah,
kind of the coveted by clubs, the husband-wife duo.
Yes.
Doesn't happen very often, but obviously a huge advantage to everyone involved.
And maybe Adam can get as good as Allison one day. So,
I mean, if he tries hard, he too might be able to win as many tournaments as Allison. Yeah. She did real well in the Cleveland Masters this weekend. Yeah. They ended up winning the Cleveland Masters this year, which is cool.
Well, and I joke, but Adam is phenomenal. I mean, matter of fact, if it weren't for the fact that Johan Durantes was all world, I guess that last. I mean, what else are you going to say about the guy? And by the way, Kevin Mitchell's an awesome player. Don't get me wrong. It's just that I don't know. I mean, we watched that match and we covered it, and it was just an amazing display. So
yeah, absolutely. But solid charities. Tournament there across the board.
No question. I almost feel like we're in a sports bar, broadcasting as a radio because we got the ambient noise in the background. So if you hear a really good joke, we'll kind of pipe down. So if it's a really good joke, you can hear the punchline.
If you hear a really good joke, we will steal credit immediately.
Yes.
Which I think is probably the way to do anything when you're live on air.
Right.
Wouldn't you agree?
And exactly. And nobody really is going to believe that I had anything to do with the joke anyway. So I may as well steal it at this point. Yep.
Later, just in case anyone's up for a special treat, we're going to put Mike Carrico on the mic.
That's why they call him Mike Carrico.
Dropped by.
It's microphone
It's great to see you, sir.
Microphone carrier. Yes, it's Mike.
The
condenser mic carrier.
Director emeritus here at Birchwood Club. After
He's the legend. He's
I
the
mean,
best.
I don't want to age him too much, but I would say after 77 years of service, he just did an incredible job, and then he
Still
set
in his
everything
prime.
up and helped
Yes.
Adam and Allison transition, and it's quite
what?
the gig here. Lots of activity.
Right, making everybody else look bad. No, who, you know what I'm saying? Like who sticks around?
Yeah, he's one of those directors that you never want to like follow up afterwards
No,
because you're like,
you
well,
can't-
everyone
yeah,
loves him.
Nobody,
so
yeah, it's like, like opening for Jerry Seinfeld. What are you don't want to go out
Right.
after Jerry, you know?
right.
Jerry's
Well, that's
gonna
not
come
as
out.
good as Mike used to
I
do
know.
it.
Jesus.
Okay.
You just wait for the guys to quit, the two guys in front of you, and then maybe they'll forget about them.
Yeah.
But no, this is going to be a cool match because you got, and I've never seen Gabe play, by the way. So you can give me a little description on his game here because I've seen Ed play a little bit. I've seen Adam and Mitch play plenty. So I kind of get I can give a little description on that. But Gabe, what's he like, Coach? What are his strengths?
From what I remember, Gabe has a great backhand, and he can manufacture shots from all over the court. So
Right.
he likes to sort of creep in and play from three-quarters court and make decisions, and he'll pick up little half volleys, and then he'll let some balls go through, and it's kind of Durant-esque, actually.
In short, a total annoyance. So anyway,
Yes, but
yeah.
I mean, in
But
a
impressive
very
annoyance,
successful
yeah. No, I get you.
paddle
Yeah,
way,
no,
for sure. But he
in a good
moves.
way.
He moves really well.
He looks like he does. He looks like.
And he can kind of manufacture a lot of options. He likes to blitz. He's not afraid of the net at all.
Sure.
And I think it probably will be sort of a fun show of athleticism with all these guys on the court.
Yeah. I mean, well, hey, I can tell you this much: he has plenty backing him up in Adam Morgan, who pretty much does everything well. I mean, I can't think of something that his drive is solid as anybody in the nation. He can obviously usually he's been underhand serving since.
Yeah, one of the originators, one of the early adopters, I should say, of the underhand serve.
Yep, no question about it. And if there's anybody who does it well and backs it up, it's him. Doesn't really miss very many first volleys when he does decide to follow it in. And
agreed.
His drive has gotten bigger and bigger. I don't know about you, but every time I see him, he hits it harder, and it seems like to stay in too. So I don't know what kind of steroids he's taking, but they're working.
Yeah.
And I want some.
Yeah,
I mean,
no, he should be sharing. I think that's the bottom
come
line.
on, what kind of a? Yeah.
For those of you at home playing the unofficial drinking game, every time that Adam Morgan makes a fist pump, that is your cue to get started. That was not my idea. It was just something that I heard was going on,
That's Will Comar.
in Chicago. Yeah, I think
That's the Will Comar school.
I think Will kind of started it because he played with Adam ever since college.
Yeah,
so.
exactly.
So he's very aware of it. But we'll in future weeks we'll get a little graphic going for the Adam Morgan fist pump counter.
No question. No
well
question.
worth it.
By the way, I love seeing the hug, the father-son hug.
The pre-match hug?
I love that. That's phenomenal.
Do you think in a way that Mitch is kind of like, I'm sorry for what's about to happen, kind of thing?
I'm sorry. Whatever I tell you today, whatever I say about you. All right, here we go.
All right, here we go. Let's fire it up.
Ooh.
Mitch did really well last weekend in the Cleveland Masters as well.
Did he?
And made it to the finals. Yeah, it was a great match, and he fought through a stomach virus all day on Saturday afternoon and then on Sunday morning. And I would like to have seen him play healthy because I think he just sort of was feeling so miserable at that point that it was just kind of tough to sort of survive the weekend. I mean, he played great. And he played with Eric West, who's a guy out of Cincinnati. And between Mitch and Eric, they had all the shots, and it was super fun to see. But clearly, he was just not feeling well.
Well, I can tell you this much. I've seen him play a number of times, and we've covered a number of national tournaments. And, I mean this sincerely. He has every shot, and he is as good and hits the ball as well as anybody in the country. I mean, I just think sometimes if he puts it together, he can be a problem.
Yep.
Hey, at the charities, took a set off Durant and Mitchell.
Yep.
He and I'm trying to think of his
Alex Lambropoulos.
Alex Lambropoulos. He and Alex, who is a fine player in his own right.
Absolutely.
By the way.
Yeah, they're a good team. They're looking for that breakthrough of kind of that consistent quality and
Sure.
the more looks that they get.
Yeah, they're right
which
on
is
the
always
cusp.
the challenge, right, at the beginning. You're basically playing tournaments, and winning a couple rounds just so you can have access to being able to see that ball
Is
that
that what
nobody
you're
else can
supposed to
give
do?
you.
Winning the rounds. God, that's always I
That
did
was
that
my
wrong.
mistake as well,
Yeah.
Sean. I know where you're
win
coming
the
from.
rounds. Yeah, I get.
Well, 30-15 here, Granger with an early lead.
Just figuring it out.
I don't think we're seeing the big full power shots from anybody yet, except for Adam, who's warmed up and ready to go.
I don't think he ever cools off.
No.
I mean, I think he pretty much comes out there. Now, in fairness, he's the first guy, especially when he plays a match, especially tournament matches, first guy out there warming up,
Yeah.
getting loose.
I just thought it was
Very
weird
well
that he was in
prepared.
the lap pool, before outdoors here at Birchwood, which was, that's a true level of dedication.
Hey, they keep it warm. I don't know if I would consider. You know what I mean? Like, I don't know. Because
I
what is
think
it?
that's
Is
our
it
first
28
game
degrees?
there. It was actually
Yeah, it is.
45. That's my fault,
15,
Cal.
it's over.
I gave you bad intel. So this is a unique situation for us because this is sort of the farthest that we typically are going to get from the court itself. So we
Yes.
are also watching the live stream, much like many of you at
Yes.
home, on a screen in front of us. And we'll do the best we can to kind of listen in to the players call the score and that kind of stuff. But obviously we don't capture 100% of the camera angles, but
Right.
99.
So the delay is not just from my senility, just so you know.
Well, that's why I programmed it in, Sean. It was,
I appreciate
just
that
to give us the ability.
that
As my
consider-
neuroplasticity drops, as does the delay on the stream.
Absolutely. So it's going to be. This is going to be. I can't say this necessarily about Gabe, but I already got some intel from Ed, where he basically told me in no uncertain terms, feel free to notice that I'll be maybe playing 15% of the balls. And letting Mitch handle 85% of the action.
Yeah, I just think it's cool that Mitch is one of the players that could feasibly do that, because if Ed told me, hey, I'm going to need you to play 85% of the court, I would be like, well, then we are going to lose 41% of the points.
Yeah.
Which actually would still technically be
That's
a
a
win,
great
so that
shot.
doesn't make sense. But
Yeah, no question about it. And by the way, we'll get a nice angle from here watching Adam Morgan's underhand serve. He's got a little kick on it, but the way he backs it up, good net clearance out the middle. And
in
Go ahead.
addition to just being kind of staying low all the time, he also places it so well.
Oh, yeah.
Like, he's really picking spots intentionally. It's not enough to just put that serve in the box. He's putting it down the tee. He's putting it out wide. He can kick it into somebody's body if he wants to. It's
Sure.
just, it's got a lot of options.
Oh, no question about it. Matter of fact, you'll be hard-pressed to find anybody play more intelligent paddle than Adam. Pretty much, he's just a computer. Pretty much figure out what the right shot at the right time is.
He is sort of a paddle robot constructed in a government
question.
lab.
Here in the States, though, it's not abroad. It's
Right.
a lab around here. We don't know where it is.
I challenge you. There's a chance that there's a tiny alien inside of him operating him with controls. I'm just saying.
It's basically like a paddle version of Pacific Rim. So, yeah. So. that's
Just a
long,
little
too.
deep with that lob.
All right, so 30-15.
This was interesting to watch everybody warm up because they went out there and they started hitting balls, and then the snow came and it was total skid ball, and it was like they had to re-warm up again.
It's just amazing the way that. I know. I thought it was like Vermont out there
Great
for like
lob.
10 minutes, and then the next thing you know, we're back in there. This pickup, that's not easy to do.
I really enjoy Ed Granger's volley. I always have. He just is one of those guys that, when he
Sure.
settles into his stance, he does as little as possible
Yes.
to actually make contact. And he's one of the guys that when I was learning how to play and we were talking about, not flipping and hitting your forehand volley all
Right,
the time,
right.
he was one of those people that was kind of like, sometimes you have to. He's like, yeah, I get it. Like, I understand it. But at the same time, when you're playing high-level paddle and people are putting the ball all over the place,
Yeah.
you're going to hit some forehand volleys.
Well, I got to tell you, depending on who's on the other side hitting returns,
Yeah, that's also true.
you know what I'm saying? My backhand volley pretty much has been suspect for my entire life. So sometimes I'm just almost like, let's just try the forehand volley if it's a laser beam. So, but I can see that. And I played plenty of tennis with Ed. So, and he's just as solid on the tennis court at the net as he would be in paddle. So it doesn't surprise me at all. At all.
Yeah, agreed.
So this is a beautiful facility, by the way. Birchwood Club, the viewing is as good as any place. I mean, in and around the North Shore, pretty much almost floor-to-ceiling windows.
Big windows all over the
Awesome.
place. Yeah, the cool lounge area in front.
And the lights, they're I was going to say kick bleep, you know. They're great. So 1-1, no surprise, really. I was trying to go British paddle. That's all we need is British paddle. And we're getting British NFL. We may as well go British paddle.
Sorry, I was still distracted by you almost swearing. It's just so offended.
Sorry.
You know,
Yeah,
my
I've
virgin ears because of a lifetime of being a paddle player. No one has ever said anything offensive.
No, not at all. Somebody asked me, actually, is that what the shotgun mic is for, is to pick up the profanity? Pretty much.
Not intentionally. It's really more about the score.
Exactly. By the way, speaking of the score, we're deadlocked at bamboo shoots here. 15 love.
Here we go.
So it's just as competitive as we figured it would be. You know what? It's so funny. That's Ed's second serve in tennis too. That little kick serve there.
Yep.
And he doesn't miss ever.
Yeah, it's really ideal in the world of paddle also.
Yeah. No question. I think it's still a little slick out there.
Yeah.
Mitch is trying to get his footing.
Yep.
So
Caught that one not quite as thin as he was hoping to.
yeah, that's always disconcerting. I mean, I'm not saying, everybody has to deal with it, but, if you're just used to, real solid footing and you feel like you're not really getting it there, so it can make a difference.
I always appreciate a match that has conditions like this, though, that at least that's the position that you start in.
Sure.
It always seems a little bit more dicey if, like, you're playing in dry conditions and then it gets rain or snow in the middle, and
No
then
question.
that's usually when you see people kind of slipping a little bit more just because they hadn't acclimated.
No.
I think if you start a little cautious, then it's probably better for you.
It's funny you say that. I almost felt like, I know this sounds kind of weird, maybe it's a good marketing idea, but maybe there's some paddle shoes that they could market they're a little better when it gets wet. And then the ones that are probably just dry, it really doesn't matter, you can play on a dry court, but I mean, I'm just wondering, because every so often, I wonder if if you have newer shoes, I've always noticed, Coach, maybe you can, chime in on this, but I always notice it.
Big pass there. What a
Unbelievable
dig
point,
from
by the way.
Gabe.
Yeah.
Oh, man,
great
that
point.
was
We're
awesome.
getting some applause here, and I didn't even have to hit the button for that to get the applause, by the way. But I'm just saying, some of the best traction you're going to get on certain with certain shoes is something that's been worn already. So, I've always noticed that the best I'm ever going to have for traction in terms of shoes,
Yeah.
I go out there with new shoes and I actually slip a little bit,
Yeah, true.
especially in wetter weather.
I really think they should start making heated shoes.
Wow.
Oh, that's that kind of counterpunch I'm talking about with that movement from
Sure.
Gabe there.
Absolutely.
He's going to find ways to move up in the court.
He looks like he's trying to, like he's a linebacker looking to blitz. Just kind of staying back, kind of almost faking a blitz here and there. All right, so 2-1. I should say. And man, it's so funny how it cleared up. I thought we were going to get snow all evening long. Amazing. I'm not a meteorologist. I'm just a meat eater. So, but what a horrible, cheesy
Meat
boy
eaterologist?
joke. Exactly.
Yeah.
I'm just not a. This is just the humor's getting worse, Coach. You can send me home. It's terrible.
I can't. Then I would just have to do this by myself.
You might be better off. All right. So.
Well, we'll let the viewers decide if they'd rather just have a paddle match with silence.
That's like Tennis Channel Plus. No, yeah, absolutely. All
And
right.
if anyone wants to drop a comment about that in the stream, I'll just remind you that you can always watch it on mute if you want to. That's how technology works.
There's a closed caption button. That ought to be interesting.
Yeah, that'll be fun.
Absolutely. All right, so what are we looking at? We're looking at 2-1 right now after the break. Am I thinking that right? Yeah, because it's Gabe's the one
Correct.
serving, so.
Just a little wide there. I think that's going to take us to 15 all.
This is moving along at a kind of a clip here, too, Coach.
Yeah, I would say that that's not too much of a surprise,
Really?
actually, just because I feel like, well, I don't think any of these guys have any, and there's no fear of the drive from any of these players, and it's sort of going to be a style, movement-wise, where I think everybody's going to try to make stuff happen. So unless we see like a super tight, end of a set, I wouldn't be surprised.
Gotcha.
If things were to slow down, I would think that would be where it comes from.
No question. And this is, well, for lack of a better term, more classic paddle weather. Because let's face it, the last time, what you were doing Cleveland, but the last time we were out there with the charities, it was warm. Really warm. So this is our first 28-degree special.
Warm and windy.
You bet.
Oh, a great move on the volley. Good drive from Ed as well.
It was.
Just drifted a little bit wide. Yeah. All right, so 1-3. Granger looking to right the ship a little bit here. See if they can put up a hold.
I wonder out there if he says "Dad" instead of "you." Because I would. Yeah.
Probably not, but I would also suggest that as father-son relationships go, this has to be one of the more respectful ones.
Oh, no
that you'll
question
see.
about it.
This is these are good people here.
No question about it. So we can turn. In other words, you can turn the shotgun mic all the way up. We're not going to hear too much percent.
Yeah, it shouldn't be.
Not
it
from
shouldn't
this
be
side
a problem.
anyway. I'm going to see if I can get a little bit better signal here. There we go. Okay, yes, I am a music fan. What song is playing out there? Is it really? Did they just play that? Oh, gosh, I'm worried about you, Cal. But by the way, the fact that as a 20-year-old, you're 20 now, all this older music, it's very impressive. And yet there's something wrong with it. I don't know what, I don't know. I'm worried about you and I'm impressed all at the same time. Good first volley there, Mitch. I meant that not sarcastically. It sounded like I was sarcastic. Come on, Mitch. It's like Cobra Kai.
Do you think that it's because his name's Mitch?
Yeah.
Do you think that that's sort
real
of just the way
genius
that
thing?
it comes
Is that
across?
you're going with the real
That's where
genius
it's
thing?
headed, yeah.
Maybe you are smarter than me.
Mitch, if you're smart, people need you.
See, we don't need the clips. I could actually go with the audio clips and fire them from the smart buttons if you wanted me to, but we don't need them. We'll just enter them in on our own.
I think we come up with our very own language and references on a regular basis. Oh, good eye.
Wow, excellent.
Mitch Granger letting that bounce right on top of the ball.
Mitch Granger,
as you should, if you think there's any chance a ball is going to be out,
absolutely.
as it can be so hard to earn points in the world of paddle. You might as well let the ball hit the deck and see what you get. Oh, this is going to be fun. Nice dig, Adam. He read that one early.
Well, Adam plays with a guy named Tyler Frazier, who probably has the best cutter, or at least the most consistent cutter I've ever seen in my life. And so he probably has played against him enough to say, I don't think if you can get Tyler's back, you can pretty much get anybody's back.
Yeah.
I hate to say that. Mitch has got a great one. Don't get me wrong. It's just that Tyler's is just exceptional. Anyway.
Agreed.
Yeah, and he never misses it. It's uncanny.
It is kind of ridiculous for all the attempts that he took, how few he actually screwed up.
It's out of control.
That was just a little wide.
So
Adam had that dialed in. I think he just caught it just a hair late.
So we're back to deuce here.
Drifted, deuce game.
You know what? That doesn't surprise me. Mitch is roller is lively.
Yeah.
He's got a lot of action on it. He's got like a semi-western grip, but he does snap it.
He's gotten progressively better at it too. He's really gotten good at hitting it from lower and lower.
Yeah.
So that the ball kind of,
and to be
clears
fair,
the net and then kind of dips below net level.
No
and if
question.
you let it go to the screen, it can be a serious problem.
Location, phenomenal. And to be fair, Adam doesn't miss many of those, but if you're going to miss one, it doesn't surprise me if it's off Mitch's.
Agreed. Great lob, causing the transition.
I think we can call that home court advantage, can't we?
I think we can call that I would agree with you there. Sean, what is home court advantage since Adam and Gabe seem to be playing with it right now?
Well, one of our emailers talked about home cooking. Like, does it have anything to do with, getting out the barbecue and whatever? And it does not. I'm sorry, it doesn't. It could, I suppose.
We'll talk about that correlation next. But just the definition of home court advantage, just so all of our viewers at home are aware of it, is the idea that you have almost a subconscious comfort level that goes along with playing on the courts that you are most familiar with.
Absolutely.
And I think that really does come into play regularly in the world of paddle. There's just going to be those little things that, you know the tension of the screens and where all the lights are and or if you're Mitch, every once in a while, if you need some time to breathe, what you do is you hit a reset overhead to the parking lot, much like that. And that's going to give us our first little opportunity to talk about our sponsors.
And there's always an opportunity to talk about the sponsors. That's what I was told the other day, Coach, because I haven't been, as conscientious as either that or was overly conscientious. I remember I was reading a sponsor's message pretty much after every other point.
Well, we certainly appreciate, Viking for all that they do for the sport.
Question.
And obviously they're supporting our Series 1 league here in Chicago and the live stream itself. So that's pretty excellent. Illinois Bone and Joint, also one of our big sponsors. Actually, one of the doctors from IBGI plays here on the Birchwood team.
Does he really?
Yeah, and he's always giving tips to people.
Can we get a shout out to him? What's his name?
To not injure themselves.
What's his name?
Dr. Dave.
Dr. Dave.
And Wintrust here also is a new recent sponsor this season for the live stream, and we certainly appreciate all of them.
Without those, we wouldn't be here. I guess without them, we wouldn't be here.
Without them, we might not be, like, the planet Earth might not have survived. Like, if you take everything to its logical conclusion, I mean, there's a chance that those three companies are single-handedly saving the world.
There's no question about it, and I take it back. I misspoke. I might be here because I got nothing to do. But I wouldn't be broadcasting anything, I tell you that much right now, or we're doing run-in sound for that matter, because,
What's very bizarre is that I feel sort of in a weird spot about talking because it's insane, but I am a consumer of all three of those companies' products.
Are you
really? Before the live stream started. Always played with Viking, went to Illinois Bone and Joint multiple times, and Wintrust has been one of my banking apparati for a while.
Wow.
Thank you. That's the plural for apparatus. It could be apparatuses. I don't know. Look it up. Read a book.
No wonder I didn't last as an English major. I never used that.
It was the MLA format that did you in, Sean. That's what happens to the best of us.
No, but I'm trying to think. No, Illinois. Well, Viking. First of all, they were telling me never use the paddles again because I was too hard on them apparently.
Viking was. Please stop destroying our equipment. You don't have to drag it across the court that way.
Yeah, but. And while we're talking, by the way, we were back. It is 4-1, so they Morgan. I should say Gabe and Adam. Let's keep the first name basis going. I like that. That makes it sound.
There's no rules here. We can do whatever we want.
Have scored another break, so they're kind of in the driver's seat here, but still anything can happen. 30-15.
Cal has informed me that apparatus is the correct pronunciation of what's happening.
Cal,
so I should have done that correctly.
Cal should mind his own business is what Cal should be
Cal
doing.
is doing a great job.
He
is
is.
both running the score and the stream tonight.
Yes.
Which is pretty excellent.
Right. Exactly.
So.
Yeah, no question about it. You know, the one night I forgot the sign, Coach. All right. The one night I forgot the sign, broadcast sign.
Don't sweat it.
We get,
There's apparently a high school reunion going on in this hut as well. So if you hear some background chatter or general excitement for people to see each other.
Well, I mean, and truth be told, I probably went to the same high school that they're talking about, but I was in class so little that nobody remembered me, and nobody really wanted to at this point. So we got a 5-1 score here.
A little gap here. They've created some breathing room. Gabe and Adam have.
No question.
So this is usually the part where, we just see Ed Granger just swing out of his shoes and start cheating.
Hey, I'd have been cheating from point one against Morgan. He's that good. But,
I'm just kidding.
No.
It's only funny because Ed is not that guy. He doesn't have that bone in his body.
Not even close. Actually, you know what? If there's like a top 5 nicest people ever walk on a court, it would be.
Yeah, he's got to be on the list for sure. Top 3.
So Mitch might be 4.
yeah, it's a family trait.
It's true. No, it was really, really good. Super people. All right, so love 30 here. That was a great screen drive from Gabe.
Yeah. I think one of the things that Gabe does so well is that he preps his paddle in a way where it gives him a lot of options with what he actually can do with the shot.
Sure.
And so he'll, it's always the same, but sometimes he can smoke a ball off the screen, and then sometimes he can hit like a half-speed, dip drive.
Absolutely.
With the same preparation. It becomes difficult to read.
Kind of noticed that. We're at a set here. Do you want to go to a...
Yeah, I think we probably should take a word from our sponsors real quick.
Cool.
And we'll be right back for set number 2.
From the heart of Chicago up to the North Shore and stretching from the northwest suburbs down to Kankakee. From urgent in-office care to virtual in-home visits, we're making orthopedic care available wherever and however you need it. Because while we're adapting our lives to keep each other safe, we know that new injuries will happen and old injuries will still linger. And IBJI is here to help.
All right, well, they jumped right into set number 2 with no break.
Yes.
Probably because everyone is nice and warm and there's a fair amount of rage involved. So this is still the first point of the second set, and that was it right there.
There it was right there.
It goes to Granger.
Yeah.
They take an early lead in set number 2.
Geez, and I was playing some like mellow down-home country.
There's nothing wrong with a little background music. I like it in the transition.
Yeah, I was going to say that.
There's a whole production involved.
Exactly.
15 for everybody.
I have 15 points. You have
15 points. It's the Oprah of scores. You get 15. He gets 15. Wow.
Yeah.
That is good driving there from Ed.
No question. He's loosening up a little bit.
Yep.
He did. He's got a really nice backhand too.
Yeah, I think Morgan. I think Gabe and Adam took that point.
Yes.
With a drop shot winner, but
look that way off of Gabe's paddle.
Nice. Ed's starting to really mix up his targets well on those spots.
This can happen though very easily in paddle. Those of you who've played, it's amazing where you make 1 or 2 mistakes and the next thing you know you're down 4-5-1. It happens. This is where the grind comes in.
Yep.
And it sure looks like Mitch and Ed have decided to try to do that.
Yep. It's just sort of the natural momentum swings that exist in the sport.
Other thing that
for those of you that have played paddle, is that how you said that last one? For those of you that have played paddle, that's the deal. And if you're watching and you haven't played paddle, what's stopping you?
other than the fact that if you make 2 mistakes, you're down 6-0.
Exactly. If you're just joining us, this is set number 2 here for the Series 3 match at Birchwood, live from the Chicago Platform Tennis Charities live stream. I am Matt McClure alongside Coach Sean Albrecht.
Wow, you call me coach too. I feel so special.
You deserve it.
I appreciate it.
You were one of my coaches.
You know, I was.
So
that's how old I am.
pretty excellent. Well, I mean, you were a super young, fit guy, and I was,
Right, sure.
I was, a teenager, so it wasn't.
I just had my first grandkid at that time, so we're fine. We're fine with that. But, all right, so.
Is that what you kept making me use a wooden racket?
Love 30. Love 30. That wasn't my. That wasn't
Saying
my idea,
this is the way the game was meant to be played.
And we loved it. All right, 15:30. Mitch serving.
What a great roller from Mitch.
Really good roller.
That is a rocket.
And, in cold weather, that's strength, man. Because it's not 60 degrees out there. That came rocketing off of the back screen. That's impressive.
All right, this bodes well for Granger because that is Mitch's favorite shirt.
Is it really?
Yeah, little background
Let me see.
info.
There's
So
little tidbits
that is
of
this is his
information.
match shirt. He is ready to go. And I'm pretty sure if this set doesn't go his way, he has to burn it. Those are the rules that I have just made up.
There's some type of ritual in the back there. Get back there with the thing.
I don't think that there's enough paddle players that get into the ritual aspect of the game, to be perfectly honest.
And I'm not talking.
Well, you hit a ball over the screen, so did you do 3 circles and throw some salt over your left shoulder? I'm pretty sure it's a combination of things.
Yes. The Blair Paddle Project. Well, look at this. He's there.
Paddle project, just
Okay.
enough spin
And
to get it to
game.
dip.
There you go. Wow, they scored in the 3rd set already. Look at that.
That's amazing.
That's thinking ahead. I would just make a 0 on there.
That was my fault, Cal. I didn't give you enough
So
information.
110 to 61. That's okay. Or I make fun of Cal. I've done the same thing, Cal, many times. Wasn't quite as obvious as that.
It would be weird if it wasn't consistent, Sean.
No, not at all. There you go. Wow, he's starting it over. Look at this guy. The seasoned professional.
Nice.
So here's the thing about Gabe that I wanted to mention. So from tennis terms, he's kind of almost like a Machir. There was an old player by the name of Miloslav Machir, and Machir had the same basic prep on the forehand, kind of floating out to his right like that, and then just kind of would coast through the ball.
Yeah.
He would not necessarily, he could rip the fuzz off it sometimes, but most of the time he would just kind of change speeds,
Yeah.
and it was very disconcerting. Very disconcerting.
Yeah, I agree. I think that that's one of the things that I feel like Gabe is really the top of
And he misses a
on this court right now.
Sure.
Just from a perspective of kind of the disguise that sometimes you don't really see in paddle. Like, when Mitch and Adam and even Ed wind up to hit a drive, like you
Yes.
know it's coming.
Sure.
And there's not like a surprise factor.
Sure.
Gabe has like 3 different speeds that he'll throw at you from
No
that
question.
same prep.
No question. And to be fair, and I mean this more as a tribute to Adam than anything else, okay? But you got Morgan as a partner. I mean, let's face it, you're probably going to see a lot of balls. I mean, if I got to hit the ball to one person or the other, and Morgan's on one side of the court, I'm probably not going at Adam on a regular basis. So, kudos to Gabe to be able to.
Yeah, Gabe has to be able to hold his own, especially playing the ad side.
Sure.
But Gabe is good enough to manufacture a bunch of shots and make it so that, Adam
question.
is going to play. It's not like he's going to freeze out.
No, not at all. No, he's more than holding his own.
Yeah, they're doing a good job switching around at the net. That was a good direction change there from Ed. I wouldn't have expected that ball to go down the line either. But he switches it over.
Crafty.
Yeah.
And I don't mean that like he, does needlepoint and paper mache. I mean, crafty as in.
Yeah, but who
guile
doesn't
out
just
there.
love an afternoon of scrapbooking, Sean? I mean, really? If you had the option on a wet November day, wouldn't you just love to spend
Yeah.
some time with
You're
construction
right,
paper and paint markers?
and some cream of chicken rice soup. And, yeah. Yes, some jicama. So, sure.
I mean, Mitch almost broke the camera with
Somebody,
that return off the back
he's
screen.
a strong dude if he's either. So my wife is obviously not watching, but
Mine neither. It's okay.
But She would go to scrapbooking, and I would swear when I'd show up and drop something off, there never is any scrapbooking going on. There's no pictures all over the table or anything. It's just wine and a lot of whining. That's what I'm hearing. And they get there. Oh, you're Sean. We heard about your, what you've been doing at home. You're not respecting.
Well, that's actually kind of interesting because that's a more recent adjustment. I was
Sure.
always under the impression that those types of arts and crafts were a by-yourself activity.
No question.
Much like the invention of the book club, right?
Yes.
Like reading was pretty much as alone as you could get.
Right.
In
yet-
a room by
and yet-
yourself,
and
if
yet
you
you-
weren't a first grade teacher.
Right, and you take a bunch of people who are probably not real good at talking to other people, and you put them in a room and talk about the books. But yeah, that was a pretty good move though. From
Yeah.
Mitch. Just
He maybe didn't need the extra cut on it, but
No.
I understand that he's trying to make something happen, especially
style points there.
as they work their way back into this
Wow.
set, which
Okay.
is very much not over. If
No,
they can find a
not
little
at all.
groove here and play some long points and sort of reset the momentum, it's not like
Couldn't agree
It's
more.
not like these guys can't all have a chance.
I mean, Abe, what you just saw there, we just let it fall by the wayside, but Adam Morgan actually missed a return. So, it is possible,
Third time ever.
exactly, to get that going.
Really, one of the things Gabe is great at here, he does not, you can't really make him feel uncomfortable. He's going to look for some opportunities.
Sure.
They got forced to swing the ball
It's
over
amazing
to
he's
the
not a
deuce
member of my
side
family.
with his
Because it's very difficult for my relatives to feel uncomfortable. Trust me, they just don't. They'll say whatever they want, and it doesn't seem to matter.
It's a tough series of direction changes from Adam there, kind of making you cover the whole court.
Absolutely.
That's a good ball there from Mitch, and
Smart lob.
Adam was
Give up
able
the
to
net.
dig it out.
Sit.
It was just a little long. It's a good point, caught in
Right.
transition.
No question. Right move, too. Probably giving up the net like that. You're not going to do much staying in there.
All right, so 3-1, second set, Gabe and Adam. It's a nice dig, nice move
Smart.
as well. Yep. Mitch able to dig that out. Get him right
Good
back
reset.
to neutral here. It's a great ball from Ed. He held that one long enough where
Yep.
Adam was forced to make a move and then had to kind of react with a volley being in an awkward spot.
The advantage of a compact backswing like that, which he does, like I said, on the tennis court all the time.
Absolutely. There's almost no
No.
backswing at all. He's really the Bruce Lee of paddle when you think about it. So the 1-inch punch
He
is
plays,
the
he plays
Ed
Jeet
Granger
Kune Do
special.
platform. Yeah.
Nice.
Goes-
Oh,
you baited him
he
into the
had
overhead.
it.
You know what? And what person among us would not have tried an overhead off that ball? Because some people go, oh, it's a low percentage, whatever.
I agree.
I don't know. At that point, I mean, did he have to hit it hard? No, but that's what made it so stylish.
I think he made the right decision, and if anything, I would say that maybe he perhaps defaulted to some of his tennis training and tried to hit the ball through the court instead
Yeah.
of rocketing it at someone who was at the net. Because that often is, if you get that chance, I don't know that you should be trying to keep that ball away from people.
There is, it's funny you say that. That is the one thing that happens probably more often than anything.
Nice
That's a
volley,
great move
Mitch.
from Mitch.
Yep.
With tennis players that pick this game up who have racket skills, they just revert to a default tennis mentality, and it's
Yeah.
difficult to get out of that. You're fond of saying this, and I think it's sage, where sometimes you're better off having less racket skill background to play this game because you don't try certain things that might be ill-advised because you just were never trained that way. You're
Yeah.
just kind of a tabula rasa, if you will.
Yeah.
Clean slate.
Yeah, I don't know that there's like a substitute for building the racket skills, by the time you actually get on the paddle court.
Yep.
But I do think there might be a benefit to the rare occasion where maybe a kid grew up playing more paddle than tennis.
Yes.
And perhaps that is sort of, the habits that you have to unlearn from the tennis court.
No question.
Sometimes I think can be a big stumbling block in the learning process of the sport.
No question. And there's a process out here right now. Trying to make a segue out of it. That was lame on my part. But the
Sean
Grangers
Albright,
right now have
master of segues.
a break point or less they did the last couple.
They did
of them.
a second ago.
Yeah, and that's back to deuce now. So
with
kudos
a perfect roller.
Exactly. To Morgan Korak to get this thing going. Oh, he went after it. Again, style points. Mm-hmm. I don't know. It looked cool from camera angle, but just a little wide.
Changing direction to go down the line. It's a tough spot on that return.
Point to go up 4-1.
But it was an opportunity. That is a tough ball.
Great touch.
Right there.
Crazy
Little
good.
Waterfall directly into the corner. It is not going to come off the side screen.
As a matter of fact, if you have an example of the right point at the right time and the right shot, because it really is opportunistic when it comes to platform tennis. I've seen matches that last 2.5 hours that are 1 and 2. Like they go 6-1, 6-2, but it's just somebody's winning the right points at the right time. All right, 4-1. Comes Mitch Granger serving. What a bullet return.
That's a
Adam.
cannon.
Yeah, I think so. That's what I'm talking about. Not that he didn't hit it hard before, but I'd swear to you.
Adam has such great form because he's just not a big guy. And
No.
he can connect with some of these shots in a way where you're like, man, he's hitting the ball much harder than someone his size should.
Yeah, exactly. His mechanics are super. Yeah, no question about it. And he has on the tennis court, too. Played against him more often than, I care to even mention, and he has the same thing on the tennis court. Hits the ball really hard for a guy that's not exactly the biggest dude out there.
All right, well, once again, the intelligence of, needing some time to breathe. Gabe has hit a reset overhead to the basketball courts and now has a chance to really center himself, as he goes to find that ball and think about where it's at.
I always thought you should have a code word if you wanted to hit the ball out of the court just to get a break. You know what I mean? If like we're playing, you know what I mean? Like I just go, hey man, uppy, 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 and then you just smack one out of the court and we just get like a 5-minute
sarsaparilla.
Exactly. Thank you.
Oh, okay, no problem, Sean.
Yeah, there's something fun about that.
These balls are only $8 a piece. Let me go ahead and put this one.
That's true. That's big.
What a dig.
It was awesome. I love the slice from Mitch.
Yep, good transition on both
ill-advised
sides.
for a normal person, but what a shot.
There's a let cord winner that you can rely on. If he would just do that more.
Yes.
I'm sure that's what he's thinking himself
So much
as well.
for home court advantage.
Oh, if I just hit let cords,
right.
That's how we can win points.
Rangers, one of the Tennaqua Rockets. I'm just making that up. I don't know if that's their mascot. Nice. It's amazing to me, Coach. Oh, he went for a cutaway.
Yeah, too thin.
Why not? I guess at this point, but it's amazing sometimes. And now Mitch is a pretty tall guy. I would say 6'4", easy. Okay. It's from back near the service line. He can hit an angled inside-out overhead into the alley and kind of snap it down and try to waterfall it. It's amazing how that's actually become commonplace in the sport now, where guys can be back in a place where they wouldn't hit an offensive overhead like that, Coach.
Right.
And you'll see it more and more. It's amazing.
Yeah. I think you're definitely, the options from deeper in the court are starting to, expand a little bit.
Yep.
Not that it's always the best idea, because
Exactly.
as you see it more, you also have players that are able to counter punch at the right time. But I do think it is the kind of offensive element of the game has really started to.
Oh, yeah.
It's really started to present
also
itself.
makes it tough to coach. Well, I saw them on the live stream do that, Coach. You told us not to.
I did have a moment during charities where, obviously we weren't announcing but running the stream, and I did say to some group of announcers, I was like, don't be afraid to say something about how all the things that these players are doing are something that no one at home should try. It requires a level of talent that most people just don't have, and it would be
Absolutely
irresponsible. How do I hit that shot? You can't. You would have been doing it already if you could. Sorry.
Exactly. Yeah, it's welcome. Here we go. So Granger scoring another one here. So it is
Great return from Mitch. Same thing,
4-2.
direction change down the line, and that one stayed super low.
no question.
Tough ball for Adam to pick up.
Yeah, it's amazing how much spin and pace he can put on the ball.
Yeah.
On his forehand side especially.
Yeah. When you get a big swing like that, and I mean, there's nothing wrong with going ahead and hitting it.
Sure.
But
Let's
I do
go
think there's
IBJI.
we already ran your commercial.
We'll run it again. That's okay. That's right.
But it really becomes
What's
about
their mascot, by the way?
the Blue Devils. And it really becomes for like a drive like Mitch's about how high you can make contact from above the net,
Bingo.
right? Because then
right.
you can hit it at a level or maybe even a little bit of a downward trajectory, and then the ball's dropping as it crosses the net.
Absolutely
Makes
right.
it a nightmare to control the volley.
Yeah, it's funny you say that too. With the advent of guys using semi-western grips out there and hitting kind of tennis-type forehands, it's amazing how low they can take the ball and still snap it up and back down again, Coach.
Oh yeah.
That's something
Yeah,
that
absolutely.
I've noticed over the years that has been more and more a common occurrence. Well, yeah, he goes after it. And here, you know what? I gotta give Mitch credit, and I'm not saying he necessarily did this deliberately, but we're going to give him credit for it anyway. I'm going to say he did. You can actually bait Adam into trying a shot like that. You bait somebody into driving here. Let's see if we can get him to drive the ball. Not that he would miss that, but just every so often, if you're off balance, even as good as somebody as Adam is, and he can still hit it off balance. It's amazing.
Yeah.
But sometimes it may not be the best time to be driving the ball if you're not really in perfect position. But maybe you can just get somebody to take a chance and maybe bait him into doing that.
Great move there by Gabe to track that down off the screen in the middle of the switch.
And by the way, for that overhead camera shot where it looks like there's an earthquake, usually it's because Fat Sean is out there pounding away on one of the floorboards, but it's not at all. We just, there's something going on out there where,
So there's some sort of connection to where the tripod is sitting, where the whole court is shaking along with everything else. So
yeah.
Not usually what we experience with that angle, but that's okay.
Yeah, it's usually just, Sean's playing.
Nice roller. Great shot from Mitch. All right, well, that's going to bring us to
4-3.
4-3.
Awesome.
Deep in the second set where anything can happen.
You called it, Coach.
I think we're witnessing
Anybody's
the
ball
power
game now.
of the lucky shirt.
Wow. There we go. We need more technical glitches. We're just not seeing enough. You know what I mean? We just need the audio to go out now.
It wouldn't be fun if it was the same all the time.
Exactly.
It's called troubleshooting for a reason.
No question. By the way, it doesn't help that we had a blizzard,
great play.
and he tracked it down.
Nice.
A blizzard, which made soaked everything with precipitation.
Yeah, it's
and then
always
now
fun.
it's freezing it up, so that doesn't help us. Oh.
Well, it's perfect.
And I'm not necessarily rooting for one party or the other, but Ed and I are about the same age, and so I'm kind of rooting for him in a way. If he misses a shot, I feel it. You know what I mean? So,
I can understand that. Nice ball again. Great track. Had him again there early.
Good dig there.
Oh, nice hands, both teams. Great movement by Gabe, and Mitch reading that situation really well. There's another one where he moved up early.
But that Gabe is deceptively fast. He really is. I mean, and there is quickness. It's not just his footwork.
No,
he reacts quicker.
Yeah, so much of his game is those little pieces of movement, and it's actually really fun to play with and against him because there's these moments where you sort of think that he's in trouble, like maybe he put himself out of position, and then he's able to turn the tables on you.
No question. By the way, not to be forgotten, that was a great drive from Morgan. Perfectly placed up the line.
Absolutely.
Forced the, I should say, unforced or forced the error from Mitch.
But we haven't had any fist pumps yet from Adam, so I think somebody should go ask him if he's okay. Just pop on the court and be like, "You feeling all right?" Or just checking.
You know what? They probably should just have like a neon outline of a fist pump and just turn it on every time he wants it.
That'd be fun. I'm sure I could have something made.
That's, yeah.
Mitch might have decided on that one just a little bit too late.
Yes.
It sort of like looked like that ball was almost, over the net on top of him when he decided he was going to.
Funny you say that, Coach. Sometimes if you have that many options,
Yeah.
you can actually misfire.
Yeah, agreed.
Because he is a really talented player, and he does have a lot of shots. And so, if you don't have no talent like I do, there's not that much of a decision to make. You pretty much have to dance with who you brought to the prom.
I don't have that problem either.
All right, 5-3. Morgan serving. There's a perfect example of how much topspin you can put on the ball.
Another
That ball-
great pickup.
Yeah. Mitch's return was like 4 feet over the net, but it was going to snap down. And for those of you watching at home, I'm going to mention it because you are hearing every so often. Adam will say "you" really loud. I mean, you can hear the shotgun mics on the far side of the court, so even guys that get to that level are still communicating. So,
As well you should.
yep,
It's a pretty small space. The last thing you need is for nobody to say anything
Right.
and then have there be miscommunication about who's hitting the ball. I think you're allowed 1 point per match as a reminder, like where nobody says anything and a ball bounces between you,
Yes.
or you and then you lose the point. But that's it. Then you have no excuse.
can we
after
call that the breakfast ball like we do on the golf course?
We probably
Okay,
should.
we got one breakfast
Well, that's
ball.
your breakfast
That's
ball.
all you get.
And now everybody has to call everything because what's the downside?
Exactly. I think Morgan's point shaving. There's no reason for him to miss that serve, and he just did. Look at Granger. Ed with the overhead. All right. 40-15. This is a match point right here. My guess is Mitch is going to swing at it.
I hope so.
He did.
Why would he change
Nice
now?
pick. Yeah, exactly. He's
Nice
gonna let
pick.
it go really good. The two-hander.
Yeah,
Yeah. He played that. That was, you know what?
Good.
It
That was
was.
nice of him. Could have caught the line.
Okay.
Little tough from our angle, but that's a good roll.
All the guys that ever played racket sports with that ball is 4 feet long.
That is good.
All right.
Match there. 6-1,
Absolutely.
6-3. Gabe and Adam take that one for Team Birchwood.
A display. I guess you could call that a clinic.
Yeah,
To
absolutely.
put that on. You got to give it to
Yep.
Morgan.
Yep,
To
relatively
Adam
quick.
And Gabe. That was amazing.
Quick battle, but that's the kind of style that all four of those players were looking for, that kind of
Exactly.
onslaught of offense.
Isn't this where we're going to have the Nationals? Later
There
in-
is a tournament here. It's not the Nationals, but it is. We do have a
Birchwood Open?
Birchwood tournament that we are going to be live streaming here towards the end
Yeah, I
of
remember
February, I think.
Got it.
So, yeah, pretty stoked about that.
Yeah, looking forward to that.
And then Nationals in Chicago, and then I think Team Nationals is here
Sure.
in Chicago as well.
That's right.
We'll keep talking about that. So,
No
well, hey,
question
this
about
was fun. Thanks for hanging out with us here for the CPTC live stream.
Absolutely.
Another paddle night in Chicago. More of an experience tonight where you really got to join us in the hut.
Yeah.
For what the, lots of
Hey,
food,
grab
drink.
a cheese stick and
Yeah.
and have at it. Yeah.
Yeah,
no question
for sure.
about it.
We're going to be off next week for the holiday, so we certainly wish everybody a happy Thanksgiving, and we will see you the week after that.
Absolutely. So long, everybody.
So take it easy.
From the heart of Chicago up to the North Shore and stretching from the northwest suburbs down to Kankakee. From urgent in-office care to virtual in-home visits, we're making orthopedic care available wherever and however you need it. Because while we're adapting our lives to keep each other safe, we know that new injuries will happen and old injuries will still linger. And IBJI is here to help.
Illinois Bone and Joint Institute is the best choice for orthopedic care. Our walk-in Ortho Access clinics provide treatment by orthopedic specialists without a trip to the ER. With evening and weekend hours, we provide your family with excellent care when it matters most. Visit IBJI.com to find an